Oseo.
Hoseo.
That's a Cherokee greeting. And wave the great feather for the good of it. And the good of it is that we're just past the new year. We're just starting the new year a couple days ago. And so that definitely is my theme. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, I also introduced the Celtic here in America. And the one that I was particularly focusing on, we've called the Stone of Bell, which is up on a Truckee River, which also has some Celtic inscriptions on it. And the one that I particularly focused on last week, I brought in the Navajo. The Navajo also has a version of the same thing. And there was a little bit of trouble with the camera that kind of missed some parts on that. And so today I'm continuing with more of this Celtic here in Turtle Island, like that, and I'm going to show you a piece here that I've usually presented almost, I think, about every year. If you can focus over here, and I'll talk about it. This is a petroglyph that's in eastern California, and it is definitely Celtic, and it is definitely using the Celtic system of writing called Ogham here. And this piece that I've replicated here for legibility to give a description. Now, near here is a place called Little Petroglyph Canyon near Ridgecrest, which is now in Navy property. And there are, I don't know, hundreds or thousands of petroglyphs there, and some of them definitely recognizable as Celtic here. And it's all, you know, a desert region out there. And this one I found is east of Olancha, which is there in that vicinity, not in Petroglyph Canyon per se, but, you know, it seems to be in that kind of line of those mountains. So what I'm going to describe here, this here, you see this dark area, I've only drawn it and painted it. This is a bevel in the rock. In other words, this is a flat rock, and here comes up to this, and then it jumps up, you know, like a break in the rock, and I'm calling it a bevel here. And the inscriber has cleverly utilized his knowledge of the Ogham and the subject that he wants to talk about in conjunction with this bevel. Now, in this culture, rocks, we're talking about rocks. Rocks that have holes in them, rocks that have cracks in them, anything like that was a opening into, well, we could say the underworld or the world hidden in the earth. So people either stuffed things into those cracks or spoke into those cracks or wrote things, you know, with those cracks. So that's what the situation we have here. And this has all been engraved, you know, using this exact configuration in the rock with this bevel here. And so you can make out that it means to suggest an animal with the horns and everything of a goat. And this language definitely comes from Scotland, from Gaelic Scotland. And it actually has a title. Gabro Lim means goat leap. And the usage of this in that culture means the sperm. It means the sperm of the animal. So all this is very fertile here. The shape of it is what, you know, caught me, because I've seen several other petroglyphs in the region that use this shape, and what I decided that it is, and if you go to a Chinese restaurant and have soup, you're going to have this shape of spoon. As far as the ancient people, they used a horn spoon. What is called is a ladle. And it also works with, we're going to tell you what these spell out, but it also spells in Gaelic, leag, ladle. And it means, in this picture, he is a ladleful. And what the picture has him doing is that he's leaping over this crack in the rock here. And the way that it's going to spell here, and this is the system of Ogham, I'll tell you a little bit more about it, how it is spelling out the message. So here are the horns, and this is the letter D. And then here's this face, it's a kind of an X or a cross like that. And that's called a diphthong. Yeah. So you would say yeah, yeah. But in Gaelic, you would pronounce this as a J. Gia, gia. And then these two legs that are forward is the L. And the two legs that are in the back, that very cleverly, is crossing this line to make the G. So, you know, this spells actually Gia to the G. Gia, deer. And then here are all these lines. And it's been put together so it will spell the letter S, will spell the letter S, and it will spell the letter N. And in that, this is called, this thingamajig is another diphthong, oi, oi. You get used to these if you see this kind of writing that I have. You begin to see, you know, how that it works. So here, all of this is having a message for us. And what it spells in Gaelic is Gia Washin Wusik here. And I translated that with dear little nook, continuance for this year. So this is a yearling here. And this method of using this sort of skeletal look of things, you see it in other petroglyphs, is called Taishvien. Taishvien. Revealing, you know, like that. So the whole thing, let me go over here to read, is Taishvien do tokash tuhin, meaning reveal thy loving kindness to us. Did you get that? Revealing the loving kindness to us. So all of this, you know, is for the new year, continuance for this year. My ability to have translations of this is due to, I have Dwelly's book that he collected in the 1800s of Scots Gaelic. I have a Scots Gaelic dictionary that Shawnee Carlisle gave to me. So besides being able to read the Ogham, I can also have the way of saying it here. Now we're going to come over here to, this is another petroglyph. This petroglyph is located now in the Little Petroglyph Canyon, which is near Ridgecrest. Ridgecrest, you know, has a museum there that is the sponsor or hub for all of this in that area. You have to make special arrangements to go into this area to see the petroglyphs. And this is a petroglyph about the right size on the rock. And the name of this petroglyph, it is Celtic, is Ogma. Ogma. He is given as the inventor of this system called Ogham. His full name is Ogmachrain, because he invented it by looking into Gren. Gren is the sun, and that he saw her eyelashes. So that's what his name means, Ogmachrain. He is seeing this system, which is made by, you know, dashes, or strokes, or sometimes dots here. And he also has his name written in Ogham right here. And that's, GM for Ogma. His arm is bent, which is Yilin, meaning all. He's like, all-knowing. And his whole body here is in a particular form. It's called the brushwood gate, sabugeta. And that these sticks in it are made either from, this is a saguaro staff, the skeleton of the saguaro, or in this area, it would be maybe acatillo stems here. And this side up here means to open, foskel. He's saying that he can be opened, he can be read. And down here is his kilt. This is a fringed kilt with the 3 toes. Basically, this means he comes from the east, And here he's holding a sla. A sla is a rod or a staff. And it is also called Fin Macul. And it is also, it's similar to the willow, because if you peel the bark off, it gives a milky substance off, which is also called like the milk of the spirits, the milk of the immortals. And there's another petroglyph about that. So basically, that's what this is all saying. This is Ogma, and that he opens, Foska. He's open to learn, he's open to enter into, and so forth. And this is very accurate here. Now, if you can, we're staying in this same idea here, can you go up to this piece up here? I replicated this. I saw it on a rock. It's about the right size and everything. This has been, 40, 50 years ago. Not exactly sure exactly where I found it, but it was so outstanding. I replicated it to look like the way it looked to me engraved on the rock. And what it says is Rusik. And Rusik means, the white clouds of fleece. The white clouds of fleece here. And it's spelled like this is R, Ui, and then Se, Gi. Similar to the arrangement that's on that skeleton goat there. So this is the S, and this is the G. This is the R, and this is the diphthong, Ui. Rusik. So it can mean just, fleece, but poetically, is Noiopil, Rusik, Bani. And it seems like maybe it's somebody's name. That's how it impresses me. And it seemed to, in my memory, be sort of singular, by itself on a facing rock. So all this would give you some idea of the presence of Gaelic speaking, Gaelic writing, and Gaelic knowledge people here in this region. This Fin Macul, now you can go up here. This is my drawing of Fin Macul. And Fin Macul is a mythic being, spirit, or like that. And this is my impression of Fin Macul, who is also the name of this staff that Ogma is carrying. So he has a dimension in Celtic mythology here. Over the past couple of weeks or so, I had a birthday. My birthday is the day after Christmas, and practically annually, every year, we spend it out in Borrego Springs in the Anza Borrego Desert. So we go all the way over there. This is my portrait of Capricorn, the goat. Since we're talking about a goat here, you can see there is my painting of the goat. And if you just go up above there, and Jack's going to put a light on it, this is a Yaqui ceremonial mask of the goat called Chibo. Chibo. And so in the Yaqui there is, this being or spirit called the goat, Chibo. And the Yaquis, that, like many of these names the Americans or Spaniards have given to people, is not their name. Their name is Yoemi, and that's recognizable as Egyptian. Also, the predominance of the goat in their culture would suggest the combination of the Aegean Sea next to Greece, which is also, Aegeus is the goat, and that these people were also in Iberia, later called Spain, where a lot of these things came together in Iberia, which all gives a kind of a ancestry or parentage of these people who the Americans are calling Yaquis, who are really the Yohimi here in Sonora, Mexico, as having come from, at different times, different places in the Mediterranean world some time ago. Now I want to come down here to the objects that I have here. Since I was just out there in the Enzo Borrego Desert, that is the home of the people the Americans call Coyote, a made-up name. Their name is the Murawita, meaning the old people, the cultured people, the ancient people. And archaeology has recently proved they've been there for 7,000 years here. And this is my image of Mukat, who is their creator. Mukat is their creator, and this lizard is Muyak. Muyak lives in the cane or the staff of Mukat. Then just move over here. Here is a seri carving for the quail, hikat or koala, quail like that. And this is a major source of food for the Coyote in ancient times, and we see a lot of the quail when we're out there. So it's very, very significant as a real food source. Whether they had any stories about him or her, I'm not sure. And then here, that I just found this out there. Here is a rather old Coyote wood carving here. That a little bit, the tail reminds me of the bird we call a roadrunner. And we were sitting in a desert garden out there in Borrego Springs, and a roadrunner came up and had a lot of interest in us. So we seemed to be in some kind of a communion together for a while, like that. So his tail certainly reminds me of that. So while you stay focused on that, I want to bring out a little bit more to kind of mystify this bird. We'll call Mistico Pajaro, a magical, mysterious bird which has paused in its flight for a moment in order to give us hope and purpose, and that the sorcerers live under the wing of that bird, which they call the bird of wisdom, the bird of freedom, and that they nourish it with their dedication and their impeccability. The flight path of this mystical bird is always in a straight direction, derecho, since it has no way of circling back and returning, and that this bird can only do two things: take you along or leave you behind. Very good. That's from the teachings of Don Juan. So we can leave that bird, and then let's see, just go down to this one here. I really like to show this. This is a tule duck. It's made by Mike Williams up there in Nevada. He's given a date on it, 1970, like that. And these birds, these replica birds, have been found in ancient caves, like thousands of years old, like that. And the Paiutes have learned how to make them as they have been made in ancient times. Also, Ben reportedly works for the museum up there, and what he does with these, he can skin a duck and put the skin over it. That's what these were, kind of armatures for the duck skins they could put onto water to lure the ducks in so they could catch them. So that's a very nice piece there to see. And lastly, I want to bring in another character. This is a kind of frog, and this frog is made by Annie Fields of Maricopa, and it is very, very significant. I'm very, very happy to have this article from the desert community of Maricopa here. Okay, you can come back to me on this. 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had a little event, and that is a woman at the who works at the Smile Dental Clinic in San Diego. Her name is Leslie, a lovely woman with a voice I love to hear and exquisite handwriting here. Wanted to do an interview of me about my art, which was filmed there in the Smile Clinic. Carolina was on the camera, and Leslie is asking me the questions here. And in that interview, I also had a painting that I was showing along with that. She asked me something like, what do you hope, for the coming years for your art? And I replied to that, well, this past year has been, very good. And so for the coming years, I would definitely hope for continuance, a continuance for the new year, we would put it. So that was my reply off the cuff. But here I've made a more full-bodied response that I'd like to deliver to you right now. The strength of my creative appetite to live is the measure of my capacity to do so. And when I feel myself too unsure, or maybe almost defeated, I hear the voice of an innate refusal to give in to it. And so I call upon my creative will to live. Above all, it is an art and does what the art always does for those who continue to create with a passion and devotion. It enables me to absorb experiences with my whole nature. Then I can fulfill the interest which is satisfied by my action to create. In the end, as it is with all true art, it enhances this providential desire and strengthens my capacity to continue living the life of the artist. It has, after all, a claim, a form of enchantment, since through its images, we, who might otherwise have to succumb to the malice of outside circumstances, find our old, ancient powers revived, or new powers stirring in us. Through these recognitions, life itself is sustained, renewed, expanded, and fulfilled. Aho. Hey. Thank you.